welcome to Rebel's Deconstructed Podcast. I'm Flavia and I will be your host for today. I am here with my colleague Joanna, one of the delivery directors in RebelDot, but I will let her present herself. Hi, Ioana.
Hi, Flavia.
Tell me a bit about your context, background, and how you ended up in RebelDot.
Oh, that's such a long journey. I actually initially started in Imprezio, which was around 7.5 years ago.
For context, Imprezio was
the founding company where we've all started from. Basically, back then we were Imprezio Global, which was a subsidiary for the Imprezio in the United States. And in 2018, we did a split. And then that's how we actually became RebelDot. We didn't know the name then, but that's another cool story. We actually ended up being able to vote the name or propose it and so on and be part of that process. But yeah, back then I was a junior developer starting my career. This was the second company that I was on. That's how I ended up here, so to say. And when we did the split, I think I was already working as a Scrum Master. Mm-hmm. So kind of that's the journey.
So you started on development. Did you have any particular road you imagined you will take at the time? So you were a junior developer wanting to be senior in React Native. What did you want to do?
I see the question. I don't know if I had my life figured out back then. I knew I wanted to grow and I was just focused on growing my skills, bringing value and so on. But I had this natural tendency of organizing things, collaborating with others, communicating. So that was like a normal path that I took, encouraged by my mentor, who's also our CEO today. And he saw that I have like a tendency to be able to do these things, and he kind of paved my way into my current role. So it wasn't planned, and I didn't have my life figured out back then.
How was the split for you from Imprezio Global to RebelDot?
So for the context, I'm working in the Oradea office, which is one of our offices, and that's I think we remained almost the same people after the split, so we couldn't feel it at the beginning maybe as much. And also I was working on a client that remained with us after the split, and which is also one of our clients today and also one of our partners. So initially we didn't feel it as much. It's just that we were like a big company, and then we just shrank down and we were like a family. But I think soon after things started to change. We were trying to keep the things that were good and also try to bring on some new things. So we tried to redefine who we are now, because we were like a small group of people, and we had to, define what's our mission, and we wanted to start, what we want to bring to the world, what we want to do. It was a really cool process, and we got to define our values, and I actually went through a test where I discovered my values, and I think part of my values are part of RebelDot's values today, and that's great because you always want to resonate with the company where you work on. So that's at least how it was back then.
That's really great that you didn't get to feel such a big change. So you didn't have like a sudden different routine. You mentioned that you wanted to keep some things that were good from the other company and bring value or add to the basis. So can you tell me, what do you think remained the same and maybe what changed?
Today, I'm not sure if it's 100% the same, but we try to keep the things that we knew in terms of product development. So we had all this experience of developing products, and when Tudi, our CEO, founded the service company, what he wanted to do is take this experience in developing products and taking it to the startup world. And we didn't want to just give up on that because it was, we had process around it. We had, I don't know, security guidelines and all kind of stuff that were in place, and we knew that. And we kept those. Of course, during the years, we added on top of them, but we kept those. And also within Prezio Global, we learned how to scale, at least until some point. So we knew how the company would need to look like, or what departments we need, what we need to do to make things work. I think this was one of our advantages. The fact that we had a good organization structure when we were like just a few of us, and we knew at least the next, 5 steps that we would need to take.
Mm-hmm. That really is a great advantage. It's you were big. How many of you were in Prezio Global at the point of before the split?
I'm trying to remember because it's a long time ago. I think we were like more than 100, if I remember correctly. And then when we were RebelDot, I think we were 20 or 30. So we just shrank down to.
So you basically had to downsize, scale down. But remember where we were, so we know how to go
and the
back
challenges that we took until getting there, and learn from the mistakes, because I think this is an important step for us to do something, learn something about it, maybe fail a little bit and learn a little bit more.
And in terms of the culture inside the team, did you feel a change?
Not immediately, but it transformed, and it transformed in a really nice way. When you are a large group of people, you have all kind of personalities and all kind of things, or subgroups that happen and so on. So we knew what we didn't like.
And that was?
For example, I think one of the things that we didn't want to have is brilliant jerks. At least this is how we defined it. I'm not sure if it has like a definition.
It's still in the manifesto today.
Yeah, it is in the manifesto. So we didn't want to have that person that we would need to rely on, that wouldn't treat other people with respect, and we would feel like, okay, I don't want to work with this person. So we tried to have some ground rules and stick to those, which are like the values and things that we believe on. And we wanted to create an environment in which we wouldn't just come to a job. You would come here to enjoy it, to feel inspired, to grow. And I think we kind of did it now. but back then it was like our dream to create this company.
Nice. You are now in a position that's very interesting and maybe unique, that of a delivery director. Okay. We also work in RebelDot that has Scrum Masters, delivery managers, delivery directors. So obviously I will ask you, what's the difference between a delivery manager and delivery director, and what's the value that you add in this position?
Okay, so this was a challenge for us as well.
To define it?
To define it, yes. I'm not sure if you know, but I was the first person who transitioned into this role. So back then, when we were like a small company, you wouldn't need an additional role. The delivery manager would do it all. And I will go through each of the roles. And now we're in a path in which we want to split these responsibilities and see which things each person needs to do to make sure we have the biggest potential to bring value to each person. So basically a delivery manager or the Scrum Master, I think that's pretty clear for everyone. It takes care of the Scrum ceremonies and so on. What the delivery manager has on top in RebelDot is, of course, the project management part, make sure it coordinates the team, make sure we deliver on time, on budget and so on. But also it takes care of the people. One of the things that we wanted in RebelDot is to have high performance people and also to take care of them. So they need to take care of the people. And in the other side, the delivery director, I think nowadays is more focused on the strategic level. So you are an account manager, a business success, business development. We're also, in RebelDot, we don't have line managers. So a delivery director would handle performance and allocations and so on. So kind of, I think this is what differentiates the two.
And you're also mentoring the delivery managers.
Yeah, basically a delivery director coordinates a team of delivery managers, and you make sure that you give them opportunities to grow and so on. And hopefully they do the same. One thing that I learned from my mentor is back. Alex. Alex, yeah. He told me when I was a delivery manager that I'm the person who takes care of the people who are delivering the results, because I had to do a mindset shift. When you are a developer, you're directly delivering result. When you are a manager, you are taking care of the people who are taking care of the result. And today, I take care of the people who take care of the people who take care of the results. So that's, it seems like such a long shot to get to the actual things and understand how things are actually working.
What kind of skills do you think a person needs to be a good delivery director?
I think it needs to have strategic thinking. It needs to have good communication skills, to be very sharp. I think it's important into this job, maybe to be enthusiastic and open and so on. I don't know.
And on the technical side, any technical skills needed?
I think it brings a lot of value to have the background and to understand when you go maybe in a meeting first time with a client and you have a lead. It's important for you to understand the background, to understand how project works, how our processes work. So I think the background of a delivery manager, and even in most of the times, I feel like my development skills and things that I've learned and experiences help me a lot and helped me in the delivery manager role and now in the delivery director role, because it could be you get a technical person in the room and then you can go to that level, to understand and to explain. So definitely this helps a lot.
Naturally. Correct me if I'm wrong. So there, to my knowledge, or in my view, there are like two kinds of projects. The ones that start from scratch with a certain development team, or the ones that maybe come to you after they've been developed and stopped in whatever phase of the development, and they need a new team to handle it. Are there any other that I'm unaware of?
Probably it could be some mixed things, but let's
if we make it easier for everyone, maybe these are the two cases. So can you tell me how do you form teams for each of these contexts?
So this is allocations. This is one of our favorite topics. We this is, I think, takes so much of our time to do allocation, and we have like a huge list that we need to take into consideration to make sure we meet all the criteria, from how we create an opportunity for a person to grow, which is the right skill set for a project, how we can mix people together to make sure they are performant and they can collaborate together, how is the client or how is the person from the client that we're interacting with, which would be a good mix. So there's like a lot of things that we take into consideration. But if we're thinking about a new team, I think that's easy. The initial step is to find the right skill set on people, and then to mix them in a way in which you would bring the best from each person that would bring value to the client and to them as well, and in creating opportunities for them to grow. If it's an existing project, it depends. If they have people that are currently working on a project, we have situation in which we have a developer from them and so on. So we want to make sure we balance the team and we integrate this person to feel part of the team. And I have some example on some of my teams, and they are coming here, and they came, I think, last month, and they are feeling part of the team, and we take care of them like our own people and so on. So we're trying to mix those things and look at those parts, or understand when, for example, I think people are reluctant to bringing junior people, but we saw so much talent. We did lots of internships, as you knew. And we got the opportunity to have these really talented people that are enthusiastic, that are starting work, that could be so hyped on the tasks that you would give them, that would bring much value or much more value than an experienced person. So we're trying to balance this out and also explain this to our clients and find the best match to the project.
Okay. You said something very interesting about junior people that are just starting out. And yes, I think we do at least 2 series of internships every year. And those series contain like multiple positions. I think it's very important to to have opportunities for people in that just finished college and want to start their careers, and it's nice that you can be super involved in their journey, and you're a big part of their lives after that. What do you feel about? I know you have some people in Oradea that started with us many years ago and are still part of the team, and they started in an internship.
Yeah, I think that was our first internship
ever as RebelDot.
As RebelDot, it was such a cool thing. I was actually part of that, and yeah, one of the guys is actually with us today. He's a lead on one of our biggest projects and clients, and he's doing great, and we had such a pleasure to see him grow, and also see him stay with us through these years, because it's not much. And also in terms of internships, because we were discussing, I think after the pandemic, we had the major hit, or it was, I think, during the pandemic when we did our first 2 internship, and I remember it was spring, and we posted the thing that we will have an internship, and we had 850 people applying, and we said, okay, we need to filter these people because it's like crazy, it's a lot, and we ended up filtering them down, and we hired 10. So when you have this big pool of candidates, you can extract the best talent. So what we give then to our clients is it's a really competent person that after the internship period, which is really intensive, and we make sure we cover topics that they need to learn, and we teach them the way of working that we have, and then agile, and how to behave with the team, how to interact and everything. They are so ready to go on a project. I think you could get much better value with them than just hiring sometimes a junior. So I think I would advise lots of our clients to at least try it out. And I think at the beginning, this was one of our things. Okay, just try it for maybe a month and tell me if you're happy. And they were amazed, and they are still continuing today. And I think Monday we are starting 2 new internships. So fingers crossed for...
I think part of, let's call it success in internships is that we have communities in RebelDot. And in every community, you find people to ask all your questions, to guide you, to go and just grab them by the hand, like, hey, I don't know how to do this or that, and you have someone there that can help you out, which is very valuable. And in many places you don't find it. It seems that you are juggling a lot of stuff. So I want to talk about the delivery process, and especially like implementing feedback. I think in your position, it sounds like you are the person that gathers a lot of information from the client and what they want out of the project, and from the team and how they feel and what's actually going on the project. So how do you balance these things and implement feedback when someone from our side, like from our team, doesn't feel comfortable in a position, and when the client wants to maybe change something really fast, or have his feedback implemented as soon as possible?
Okay, tough topic. But I think it's all about balancing it out and setting the right expectations. Of course, we have many situations, but we take it really transparent, and we discuss this with the teams and so on, and we create plans together, or we create plans with the client on how we can start from point A, where we are today, to point B, where he wants to go, what's feasible, what's not, what's the best way or ideal way to get there, how we can support him, what are the risks, if there are any risks involved, because it could be that he wants a thing or gives you a feedback on something that he wants you to do it, but he doesn't understand the full scope or the full picture, and we want to make sure we do that. And with people and with our colleagues is the same. Many times they don't see the full picture, so I think that's our role to share with them the full picture, or in case there are things that need to be changed, to work with them and discuss with the client and create a plan together, and think of a way forward, setting expectation that we can't change it tomorrow, but we can create a plan together and review it and see how things have improved since the last time we've discussed. So I think it's collaboration, I would say. And this is both with clients and with our colleagues.
Mm-hmm. Do you think, maybe I'm not putting this out in the perfect way, but there are a lot of stereotypes that it's better to work with a technical client or a non-technical client. Do you have an opinion about this?
I don't think it matters. I think you need to find a way to adapt and find a way to work together. And a big part or step of this is, at least for us, through my experience, it's been meeting the person face to face. Because many times you just see the actions of this person, and it's like a lot of things that are happening, in the shadows. Maybe he has a kid, maybe he has a wife, maybe his dog is sick, something happens, or he has lots of other tasks, not just the project that he's working on. So I think meeting face to face, and I think we've tried this so much with our current clients to at least see each other once a year or something like that. And I saw that being like a major improvement for the collaboration. Besides that, I think it's transparency, being open to each other, actually wanting to solve the problems, not just putting them on the table, but thinking in a problem-solving way. I think maybe that's part of the secret.
And what's the approach, your go-to approach when there's a feud or a fuss in the team, an issue that's more not about the project, but about the collaboration between team members? Does that happen?
Yeah, of course it does. I think we would lie, or if someone lies if it says that doesn't happen. I think, at least for me, it's important to hear all parties, to understand first, and then to facilitate a way in which they could get along or they could get to an agreement. It didn't happen like grave cases or something like that, but of course there are like these type of things, and you can either create some mini games where they could get to know each other, or you could facilitate this. What we do, and I think we have this for most of our teams, we have each Friday and this called in some of the teams coffee break, in some others, I'm not sure, happy Friday or something like that, where they have like a half an hour or an hour where they get to just talk to each other informally and get to know each other and take that relationship, not just a work relationship, but take it to the next level. And that helps a lot in building teams and avoiding these type of things. Because in many cases, it's better to try to avoid it than ended up being into that situation. And this starts from allocations, because I've told you we have a list in which we go through. So we try to also match personalities and people, and we know whom to match with whom. In many cases we fail, but we learn. But we try to create an environment in which they would thrive and they would help each other and grow together instead of fight with each other or something like that.
Okay, so you mentioned this list, which is very interesting to me because I've never seen it and I don't know about
people
it.
just think that we place a person in a project. I know.
Yeah, I think we mostly think it's random. No, I'm kidding. I don't think anyone thinks it's random, but we don't exactly know how you do it. So I want to ask, how do you do it? Because you mentioned putting people together also according to their personalities. But I have to ask, in a team of almost 200 people, how do you know each person?
You know. Yeah, so we are a closed group of people that were doing allocation. We are 5. And you would be surprised to the level of knowledge that we have. So we usually actually we still know all of our people today. I'm not sure if that's scalable or if we will be able to do that in the future, but we know. And some of us know more on the people that we have in our teams. The other knows about others and so on. So we know all kind of details. If they want to grow, if they want to switch the technology, if they would want a new project, if they would want to work on a certain technology, or if they have some common interests, if they don't don't want to work with a certain person, or we know that their personalities would just collapse. So we do have that list, and it's usually like a board game. We have a view where we see all the people and where they are located. I know them by heart, by the way. When a person walks through me, I know, okay, he's allocated there. He wants to do this. This is something he wants in the future, and so on. So we try to take that, all that information that we have, brainstorm together and find the right match. And believe me, it's like a board game. You have to be fast, you have to think, and this is the solution, and this is the option that we have. Yeah, but that will help the person grow in that direction. This would bring the client this topic, and it could be budget, it could be skill set, it could be personality, it could be personal plan. It's all kind of things. Or we know that we have students that would want to have a part-time norm because they want to take their exams in the summer. We know, okay, we can't put pressure on these guys. We have to take care of that. So it's fun to do that. I know people don't always see that, and maybe we don't have the possibility to create the perfect match all the time, because we don't have the perfect situations for them, but we do the best that we can to get the best outcome.
And that sounds like a lot of work. And sounds like a lot of work for 5 people to handle so many other people. But I also want to ask, I will assume there are cases in which you can't meet someone's desires, or maybe you can't meet them immediately after they told you what they want or what they wish for. What do you do in those situations?
Set up the right expectations. We usually have a conversation with the person where we try to set the context and expectations. Okay, I understand. This is my situation now. I will try, and maybe we try to define a time frame in which, if he wants to transition to something, he would like to do it, or it's important for the person to do it. And in the meantime, we'll just keep it in mind, or maybe give some regular updates on what we can do. It could be that sometimes we have to meet in the middle and we have a conversation with the person. He could take it or not, or she. But we at least have the option to say it transparently and work on that together. But I think we were lucky because most of our colleagues understand the context, and once you explain them what's happening and so on, they just understand it. And it's like in real life, if I set the right expectations for you, you will most probably understand me.
It's nice that you basically choose transparency and openness, and I like that you mentioned that they can take it or not, because whenever we talk about someone's future and maybe something is pressing and you don't know, maybe it's personal, and it's good that they can openly come to you, the people who are in charge of allocations. So you've been around for many years and seen a lot of things, both in Imprezio and later on in RebelDot, and worked on a lot of projects, I'm assuming, and also have a very big overview on all the projects, all the clients, and all the teams. So I'm assuming you have a lot of precious memories. I want to talk to you about some of the memories that you have, and first of all ask you what are some of the dearest moments that you hold in your heart? It can be moments with a team or with a client, or maybe trips that you took to see some projects.
Okay. I think if I'm thinking of RebelDot, I do have like a really nice memory. I think we still do it today. We did it last year as well. It was called Happiness Week, and it was the first version of Happiness Week. So Happiness Week, for people who don't know, it's a week in which our job is to take care of one of our colleagues. We used to be at the office back then. So the person that took care of me, I think today it's called Care Bear, did all kind of things. So I would spend most of my time in meetings, but each time I would go in a meeting, I would have a note. Each time I would get out of the meeting, I would have another note, or I would have a coffee, or he knew because it was from the office. We were all there what was happening to me. So each time I would step in or out from one of the meeting rooms or to the bathroom or something, I would receive something, a little note.
With the happy thoughts or?
Yeah, or I was, I don't know, maybe telling them something and it was a quote related to that and so on. So it lasted the whole week. And it's a lot, you know.
You have like... many meetings, I know.
Yeah, for someone to do that. And I couldn't find the person and I couldn't catch it, you know, because at some point I wanted to know. But I think they did some sort of, I don't know, collaboration on helping with those. Some other things is, I think the team building that we did 2 years ago, it was really cool.
The Rebels with a Cause?
Yeah, we went to some schools and we could create playgrounds for kids. I think one of our teams got to also renovate the classroom and also draw some things. Really nice. So that was like really, really, really fulfilling. And also from other team buildings, I think once, but back then I think we were in Prezio, and I do believe that was Tudi's idea. We got to create cars, small cars that we would race at the end. And we did that. And it was amazing.
I need more information. Like these cars, were there like a Flintstone thing in which you would run inside of it?
Kind of like a Flintstone thing in which someone would stay in it and I don't know, 2 persons would push it, something like that. But we had like wood and things to actually build it ourselves. But it was really, really cool.
It sounds like a 2D idea. I wonder,
it was his idea, I think.
Are there pictures? I've never seen anything.
We had 2 cars that we carried with us. I think it could be we still have them. So, yeah, that was like really, really nice. And also after the pandemic, we get to meet with one of our oldest clients. And this was the first project that I worked on when I came to Imprezio back then. And we were having a barbecue in our other office where we have the courtyard. And I sat with one of the founders of the company, and he was in a thought process, and he was, Ioana, you know, we had a big release, Ioana, and I knew it was a big release. We ended up rewriting a whole web application because it used some framework that wasn't actual anymore, so to say. So it was a huge release, like releasing a product of 4 years or something like that. And he asked, and did you see, we didn't have any issues. Nothing happened. And I was, yeah, I know, nothing happened. And he was like, Ioana, we know each other for 7 years. And I was, yes, I know. Do you know why I still work with you and come here every year and so on? And I was, no. And he was, because you offer me peace of mind. I think this is what you give me each time. And it was really nice to hear that and feel that.
I heard Tudi quoting this, but I've never I never knew where it came from. I legit thought he came up with it.
No,
that we offer peace of mind. But no, he didn't.
No, it's from an actual feedback that we got.
Oh, that's very beautiful. I have an equivalent of that one of our colleagues mentioned, Andy. I think it was Andy, and I think it was during his interview for our blog in the tech story. And Dragos, who was interviewing him, asked, in 14 years of being part of the team, part of it in Imprezio and part of it in RebelDot, but mainly in the same team, how come you never considered leaving? And he replied, if it ain't broke, why fix it? And it kind of stuck with me. It makes a lot of sense. And this is also very, very beautiful. I think it's important for our clients mainly to feel like they have peace of mind. I always think if I were in their position, I think it's hard to trust someone that you only see from here up and who are so far away, and trust them with your baby, so to say, your project, your idea, the thing that you want to create, and to feel like you have peace of mind. It's really beautiful.
And also to hear it about after so many years, you know, yeah. It's nice. Yeah.
Did you have perfect I don't know, maybe experience? Like how would the perfect kickoff of a project look like for you?
I don't like perfect things. I like balanced things. Yeah. So
maybe the perfect kickoff for you is imperfect and with balance instead.
I think if I would have to choose, it would be an in-person kickoff, where either we could travel to the client or the client could travel here and we could get to know each other in person. And many times after they come here, they get so surprised and they can see the team and how we are working and the office and everything. So I would start with that. And of course, after that, it comes all the preparations when you need to organize and know the next steps and have it all organized beforehand and creating the next steps. But yeah.
Okay, so in person.
In person, yeah.
In so many years of working, did your view upon something specific change? Like how you used to see even the development process or the delivery process, to be more specific at the beginning or maybe when you started out, and how do you see it now? Not necessarily this, I'm just giving an example, but something that changed completely as you grew into the role and in RebelDot.
You get to see so much or so many things after you grow. Remember I mentioned before the big picture overview and so on. After you start seeing things from above, your view changes, and it changes on how a project would look like beginning to end, because you get to see all the parties involved, from budgets to what people actually mean, to what people are trying to achieve into their career, why they are doing certain things. So it changed a lot, and it's still changing now. In terms of maybe projects and software, and one of the things I think that I learned when doing the transition, I learned how important it is to give clarity to the person you are working with, and have that person be able to rely on you, to trust you, and so on. So it's much communicating clearly to him or giving the results that he could understand. It's maybe much more important than just, I don't know, giving him some code or something that sounds really fancy. Just have him understand with simple words, but exactly what you're trying to say.
I love that. It's a very open state of mind. I want to ask you maybe different question, let's call it. And I actually asked Bianca during the tech story too, and I loved her answer. No pressure.
Okay.
Do you have an idea or a thought that's been bugging you lately?
I'm not sure if it's an idea or a thought. I don't know where to place it. But I think I would like to see how I can have people around me that could inspire others to grow and to give the best that they can for themselves, for our clients, and so on. And I think that's been on my mind, on how can you achieve that.
And what does a person that inspire others look like?
It's enthusiastic, listens to others, believes in their abilities or sees them before they can do that, is able to walk the talk and create the growth opportunities for those persons, and can encourage them when they feel low or when they don't have enough confidence in themselves.
So kind of like a natural born leader out of a certain group, someone people rely on, go to for advice.
It could be anyone. I think I don't believe in roles. But I believe in people that have these skills and that could grow to be leaders, actually. But you can do this at any level. I had people that inspire me in some of my days when I felt low and when they did this. So I think it's nice if you could do that too for your colleagues or for maybe your family or friends or so on.
Thank you. What makes you smile at the end of the day?
Oh, I smile a lot. I'm a really happy person. But in terms of fulfillment, I think it's when I see people that didn't know that they would end up in a certain role or do certain things, grow, and I feel like really proud, and I think that's where my fulfillment comes from.
Nice. And in your personal life, like what makes Ioana happy on a regular day?
I'm a really simple person.
I love simple.
So I get enthusiastic with really simple things. If I could, I don't know, have breakfast with my husband or spend the night with our friends or just, I don't know, go shopping. I enjoy even grocery shopping or talking to the doorman and telling me a little bit about his wife and his kids and so on. So I take joy from really simple things. It doesn't need to be extraordinary.
How do you do that?
I've always been a happy person, you know? And I'm not sure if it's happy, but it's like
a positive maybe.
A positive maybe, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think happy, or to me at least, it's hard to define, and I think you naturally get to a point when you, or maybe I did, and maybe it's not natural, I don't know, but I reached a point in which I find it that you can have everything right, but if it doesn't feel right on the inside, it doesn't matter. So it's also known and talked about. It's not like I discovered this, but I really think it comes from within. And saying this sounds a bit like a cliche, but
I do believe it's from within. I mean, I was happy today when I was negotiating with Ami, our colleague, who's taking care of
and
me to don't have a third coffee today, or when I got to the office and I could hug some people that I haven't seen in a while. So it's like really small things that make me happy.
Oh, today, sitting down with you in the cafe in the morning, I felt like I'm sitting down with a superstar. Because, like, how often do you come to Cluj? Maybe.
I think I come like each month.
Yeah, but it's monthly. It's not like every day. Yeah. So I felt like sitting with a superstar, like me and Angelina Jolie here, and everyone wants to come hug her and see her. I also felt a bit like that this morning. Sasha, Marta, and Ami were in the cafe, and when I entered, and I haven't been to the office in like 10 days or something.
Oh,
yeah, and they were like, I was so cheerful. And, hi, how are you? I felt so good. Like,
yeah, it feels really nice.
Yeah. Do you think there's a difference in culture between our Oradea office and Cluj office?
No. And I think one of the things that I've always liked about us is that we didn't have that. We didn't have that when we were in Prezio, and I don't feel it now. I feel we are really paying attention when we're recruiting people. And as you know, our people and culture interview, because we don't like to call it HR, focuses a lot on attitude and how we want our colleagues to be. So you don't have two cultures. Yeah, you have two vibes, but you have three vibes. If we're going to Alverna, it's a small office with a yard and so on. If you come here, it's like we have a barista, it's a nice environment, we are in an office building and so on. In Oradea, it's a mixed. So we have a smaller office and we have people who know each other, who go there just to see their colleagues and so on. So it's not a difference in culture, it's just a different setup.
Mm-hmm. You've mentioned that most of the team in Oradea has stayed the same throughout the years, right?
Well, it changed because we grew a lot, but from the original people,
the originals
sounds so like a movie. Initially, we were 3 persons in Oradea, and 2 of us are still here, if we're counting like that. But then
the core is still almost entirely
But we
there.
have people like from our first internship, like 5 years ago, that are still with us, or 5 and something. So yeah.
I want to go back a bit to your responsibilities, duties, and maybe mission as a delivery director, and ask you, what's your favorite part about the job that you're doing?
I ask this to myself a lot. I think
randomly.
Yeah. No, but I think it's being able to have an impact, and a positive one in the company, and being able to create growth opportunities for people, or create good collaborations with our clients, and having partnerships where we are all thriving together. Yeah, I think maybe that's it. We have like the 3 Ps that we have to take care of: people, processes, and projects. So
just like super important 3 things. But just 3.
Yeah, we try to make it easier for us to remember it.
We covered a lot of ground, which is awesome. So there's a lot of talk right now in the software industry at a global level, and a lot of companies are suffering from many in many different ways, and we only hear the outcomes. We never know what's going on inside. For some it might be scary, for some it might raise some questions. So I want to ask, how we're doing, and if you see differences in approaches, maybe when we approach clients or they approach us, when we try to start new projects. How do you feel everything at the moment?
It's weird, during the current global situation. For us, I mean, we've never had so many leads, to put it out there. And this is amazing. But also, it's been never so hard to close a lead. So I think this is maybe the things that I feel it's changed.
Why do you, to what do you attribute the number of leads?
In which sense?
Like, you've mentioned that we've never had so many leads. What caused so many leads?
I mean, for us, I think it's multiple channels. We've never had a team this big on sales, which it could be part of it. Also, we have lots of our clients referring to us, and I think this has been one of the channels where we've received business so far, and that's why for us it's always important, and we have to remember, okay, we need to do a good job to deliver, to make sure that we are happy with the result that we are giving to the client. And that's been a way in which our clients have referred us to other people and to other people and so on, and those guys referred to us. And this is how we receive many of our leads today. But we've also grew our sales department, as I mentioned, and now I think we are like 4 or 5 people that are doing this on a daily basis, maybe full time. So I think this is how the leads are coming to us. And then we go through our normal process, but the closing time changed. Because they are insecure, because they don't know how it will look, because it's hard for them to take the decision, they are delaying it. We are still closing deals, but we had like maybe months before we could close a deal, even though they were like super excited about the solution, about what we proposed. They 100% resonated with it. It was hard for them to make the investment and take that decision.
So we basically feel the repercussions of the budget cuts, so to say. And from a people point of view, do you feel the market's changed with all the companies going through changes themselves? Maybe equality in prospects?
Not necessarily. I think people are more reluctant on change. So I think it's hard for them to maybe take the decision to leave. Maybe sometimes there are people that want to leave because the context has changed. So it's a slightly different context because we've only seen in IT a growth, a path. So I think now we have a flat. I wouldn't say it's a down scale, but it's like a flat or a plateau of the IT market, at least in Cluj and in Romania today. And people, I think, are trying to adapt to it. We don't know what's happening. We've never been through this, or some of us have been through this in 2008. But we are trying to see how we are going to react. For us, it's normal. So when we are going through the recruitment process, because we are still hiring today, it doesn't feel that bad. It feels like normal, maybe a bit easier than last year, because last year it was maybe harder to have that many people join. Although I know there were like many people wanted to change jobs, and now they want maybe stability more than in the past years.
Well, the past years have been really eventful. I feel like we've had a few good years, and then a lot of things happened that completely maybe shifted perspectives, and had for some really tragic outcomes. But this has happened in a way or another the past few years. Do you feel like we've reached an all-time low, not us necessarily as a business, but as an industry?
No, definitely no. I think we are, as I mentioned, in a plateau. I wouldn't say we are low today because we're not. But maybe it's like a downhill that any other industry had, and we didn't. But I don't think this will last very long. Any business needs digitalization nowadays, and I think the pandemic proved that to a lot of them. And that's why during the pandemic, for the IT industry and IT sector, it grew a lot because businesses ended up realizing that they need to do their job remote, or place their services remote, and so on. So it opened up for the IT industry, and I don't see this as dying or going downhill. It's just that we need to see how the economic situation will be and when it will reach us, because for us it's not as it is in UK, and I don't think we can feel it today. Maybe we can feel it for some US subsidiaries or product companies, but not for the normal companies, so to say.
We've covered ground in RebelDot, your journey so far, your position as a delivery director, the culture here, teams, processes, how we handle difficult situations. So now I want to talk a bit about you, Ioana, as a person. Of course, you're a person in everything you do, but I think you get what I mean. So I know you're not doing what you wanted to do when you finished college and started out as a developer, but are you the kind of person that you wished to be when you were younger?
Yes, I think I wish to be who I am today. I didn't imagine that it will be like this, but yes, I think I learned a lot. I made a lot of mistakes. I tried to learn from them. I try to be a better person, and I hope to evolve in the future as well.
What did you want to be when you grew up?
Oh, it changed so many times. From like a math teacher to... yeah, I loved math. So for me, it wasn't... it was,
yeah, sorry, yay.
I think at some point I also wanted to be a manager. I didn't know what a manager is, but
just to manage something.
Yeah, and I wanted to be around people, and at some point I wanted to be like school teacher, because I love kids, and I thought that I would love to do that. So it changed so many times. At one point I wanted to be a doctor, until I learned it involved hospitals.
shocking news.
Yeah, but
I wanted to be a doctor at some point until I realized it involves blood and seeing other people's blood.
That's yeah.
No, that's a no.
So it really changed through the years, but I like it now, and I love what I'm doing. I don't love it every day and every moment, but most of the days.
That was my next question. Do you really love it every day and every moment?
No, but I don't think we have to love it every day. I mean, even maybe in our personal lives, we don't love each other in each moment, so it doesn't need to be every moment. It has to be most of the time.
How did you learn to accept that as part of your life? Like the little flaws. You said that you don't like perfect things, and now you're mentioning that you don't have to love every single day and every single thing. So I think it's always a process to understand that.
It is a process, and I had people that would guide me into this direction and who believed in these things. It just happened step by step. I think initially I was a perfectionist. I was that in school as well. I wanted to have like straight A's and so on. But then it stopped.
Suddenly?
No, it was progressively stopping and accepting that things don't need to be perfect. I still have high standards, and I want to see this in my job and in what we do. I think that's important. But having high standards doesn't mean to be perfect. It's different, you know. It doesn't need to be any second, and people are allowed to do mistakes and learn from them. If you do a mistake and you keep repeating it and you don't learn nothing, I think that's a problem. But if you take steps and you go into the right direction, then that's okay.
I'm also a big lover of the good enough. Not apply to everything and everyone and all the time and in every day or task or whatever, but important to know that sometimes, some days, the best that you can give at that point is it's okay to be good enough.
I love that about you. I don't love that about tasks. So I think you should deliver the result when you are prepared and set the right expectations, but you still need to keep the high quality and value.
Obviously. So my job is very different though.
Yeah, I think the results that I'm looking at, it's
and their impact. Like, I don't want to diminish my work, but sometimes, like, if I don't truly feel that title that I give to a piece of writing that I created, and it's good enough, it does the job, it's okay. I can move on. I think it's a trap that you get into, that of being a perfectionist, and because I think you can easily fall into I'm not delivering anything unless it's perfect. And the issue, like I've seen this happen to a lot of people, it's never perfect.
No, it's not. That's 100%. But you have to have a standard, and I think that in development, for example, it's easier because you have standards that you have to adhere to. So it's easier to say, okay, this is good. Yeah. So I'm delivering good quality. Doesn't need to be perfect, but you have the standard that you've set for that task or for that thing.
Fancy how you circled back to development when we were talking about
part of my life.
I know.
And I do. You were asking about me and my personal lives and so on. For many years, I tried to have a split. Okay, this is my time, this is my work time, and that was adding so much pressure on myself, because I was okay. I need to break it now. Now it needs to happen. And for me, it doesn't work like that. And I think for some people, it's healthy to be like that. But maybe for me, it's healthy to have some time in the afternoon when I'm okay to, for example, check my Slack. It takes so much pressure out of me and I can disconnect immediately. I don't think about those things, but it gives me peace. So finding that balance, it's been hard. And, reading everything, you have to have a work-life balance. And how do you do that? And there's like lots of books into that direction.
That was my next question. And so you are saying that you feel most comfortable when you don't put pressure on yourself to interrupt what you're doing and say like, okay, it's 5:30 p.m.
I have
done.
to stop. Yeah. And I don't think in my role that would work.
And do you see it do you see it happening vice versa too? For example, it's 9 a.m. I should start and I don't feel like it, so I will start at 9:30. I will prolong my coffee. Maybe I'm having a nice moment with someone at the office.
Yes, and I'm doing that as well. And for example, in that scenario, when I'm at the office and I'm speaking to someone, I don't want to be strict if I don't have to be strict. Or if I want to exercise and I want to start at 10, it's okay for me to start at 10. I've just tried to remove those fixed things because we don't have to be in a box, you know. I have to be here and that's it. We are lucky enough, so our job allows it to be flexible, so we can use that flexibility in a way in which benefits us. So.
And if you would have to give an advice to someone that's struggling with finding this work-life balance, what would it be?
To not follow a strict thing that would tell them what to do, and to find something that works for them. There are people that don't need that full disconnect, and there are people who benefit from that full disconnect. So I think finding what's best for you and what resonates to you, that would help you on the long run. And then in terms of your productivity and how you work, you have to get organized with your time in order to decrease the pressure. Because even if you stop, if you don't have your like work time and so on organized, and you know what to do, and you plan your week, and you have a calendar and everything, that pressure will stay with you. Even if you like close the shop and go home, you would be, I have this task and I have to do that. So for me, that's been a help to organize, and I'm still doing that today. I mean, I have a 1 hour each Friday. It takes me an hour now, but anyway, to actually organize my week, and I try
the next one, the following one.
Yeah, and that allows me to avoid crowding my days and having some spare time, or moving some meetings around, and also setting the scene and understanding how my next week will look like, and setting expectations for myself.
I am so stealing and using this starting this Friday.
It's really beneficial, trust me.
Yeah, I do this on Monday.
Yeah, but Monday it starts.
Yeah. You were talking, and I was thinking, that would also give me like a bit of predictability and what to expect, and maybe I will sleep better during the weekend knowing that.
and it is like that, and it could be that you have a really important meeting the following week, and you need to prepare. And if you do that on Monday, then it's kind of too late. So you have to maybe unblock that day, or you have some.
That's why I never put like super important meetings on Monday.
Yeah.
I always say, okay, starting from Tuesday. So I have to, on Monday, I mentally prepare for whatever's coming. I wanted to ask you, who was the biggest inspiration in your life? It doesn't have to be someone in the business area, but if it is, it can be.
I think it's not just one person. It's different people in different areas. For example, I like Toody's optimism, and I like the fact that when something happens, he's like hyped, you know. And I think I took that from him. When something happens and we need to fix it, or I need to solve something, I get excited. I need to do this. It's happening. And then from Alex, I learned like well-being and being balanced and so on. From Florin, my husband, I learned to take ownership and responsibility and so on. So that's something that I learned from him, and some other things from my parents and so on. So it's like the little things. It's not just a person, but it's like a behavior. If I see a behavior in someone and I actually like it, and I resonate with it, and I was, okay, so I should take this, and this is like a nice thing to apply in my life.
Borrow it and make it your own.
Yeah. It's been helpful so far.
I don't want to ask the cliche question in cliche interviews, like where do you see yourself in 5 years? But I do want to ask you where you see yourself, not in 5 years, but what's next? What would be next for your growth journey, both as a person and as a professional?
I always ask myself after each change, because for me it's been lots of changes. I was a junior developer, and then our team grew, and then I had to do Scrum Master, and then delivery management on a project, on 2, on 3, on 4, on 5, and then I had to manage other delivery managers. And I always kept asking myself, what would be next, and how am I going to do that, and will I be okay, and will I be competent enough to do that? And so far it's been completely naturally, the whole progression. I'm not sure the next 1 year, 2 years, and so on will look like, but I think I'm optimistic that I will figure out a way to just do it.
Did you ever doubt yourself?
Oh yes. Oh yes. And a funny story here, I write a lot. I mean, I would be in a discussion with you and I am writing everything. And I would finish a notebook each 2 weeks. So in my early days, I need to to give some, or to take the courage from something. And I would always start my notebook. Now this was in Romanian, so let me try to translate it. So any success comes with the will of trying. And each notebook, I would start it with that phrase. And when I would feel doubt, I would, open
go to the
it.
front page.
Yeah, and that was written. So yeah, it's been like, I think 2-3 years since I actually got confidence in myself. And that's amazing.
And that happened naturally or with gained experience?
It was with gained experience. It was with feedback. It was with the ability to receive that feedback, to incorporate it, to resonate with it, to give the feedback to other people. It was a journey. But at some point, I felt like it just happened. And people around me felt that, okay, the confidence is there and you can do this.
What was the biggest mistake you've ever made? Do you have something like that? One big mistake that comes to mind?
I'm trying to think about it. I'm sure there were like many, but not sure if I can name something that marked me. Maybe I think at some point something happened, and I actually don't like inefficiencies and things that are not working, and I was really upset because the situation was keep on happening and so on. So
on a project?
No, it was something related to the office. Back in the days, I was also taking care of the Oradea office, so things were not working, and we would have this person that would take on the tasks, and I was, oh my God, this is not getting fixed. But it was like months of, the situation repeating. And I was so upset that I think I even raised up my voice. The person...
I can't imagine you with a raised voice.
It happened. I can do it, unfortunately. And the person tried to defend itself. I'm usually really empathic, and I would cry for you and so on. And I felt like in that moment, my whole empathy went down. And she told me something like, my kid is sick or something like that. And I didn't resonate at all with the thing. And I was like, this is not getting fixed. Let me or tell me to fix it, but we need to get to a result. And I felt so guilty after that, because this is not something that I resonate with, or this is not who I am. And even the person wasn't upset on me, and we were friends like the next 10 minutes. But it showed me the importance of maybe listening more before you would have a reaction, or if you are in a moment in which you are like sick and tired of some things, to take the time to calm yourself and then handle the situation. The problem got fixed like immediately, but that's not how I would like to do it. So for me, that was like a thing that I think marked me a little bit, and marked me because it doesn't resonate at all with who I am as a person. So yeah,
I appreciate you so much for mentioning this. I think it's really important to talk about these moments in which we are not our best selves, because I don't believe that everyone is their best selves at any given moment. I think you can have a really bad day, have something bugging you for a very long time, and act not according to who you are. But I also feel like a lot of people try to cover it up, like and not mention it ever. I also have this mantra. Whenever there's something bugging me, I feel the need to say it, either to the person or address the situation or whatever. And I started this thing in which I write it down, like what I would say.
Okay.
But I don't say it, and I don't send it to anyone. I got it out of myself. I put it there in my notes, and I wait for a few hours, a few days, maybe a week, and see if I still feel like that. If the passion with which I would have said it is still as strong. And if it's not, then I do address it, because I think it's important to always address everything, but tone it down. in a way in which I'm not as affected by it.
So I will steal that from you. Yeah. I think this is great.
It's very, just get it out in the moment and then wait to see.
Oh, this is amazing.
Yeah. And I have of course you have people inside the teams that you trust more. I'm not trust more, which you're naturally more close to, which some sort of friendship was born. And I have this person inside my team, and I always tell her, like, when this or that happened, and I want to tell Julia, our head of people and culture, and I always write it, and I start with Julia, comma. I want to tell you something, and I actually write it like I'm talking to you. That's sort of soothing. Like I want to get it out. I want to talk to her about it, but then I wait for a week or two, and then I come to her after a long time, like, oh, in my one-on-one, in the monthly one-on-one, like, oh, and that happened, but I fixed it, and that happened, but I didn't tell you, and now I'm chill and everything is okay, and I can talk to you about it.
That's nice. Yeah. And that's nice because you can do that by yourself. Besides, I think the problem with this type of situation, you have to be careful how the information that you have will impact the person that you're telling. So in many times, even if it's not that bad, or the person needs to be prepared to hear it, or to resonate, or to maybe you have a different message that you want to send and it's too aggressive. So I will definitely steal this.
It's very important to, I think Tom taught me this.
Okay.
We were chatting randomly. I told him some of the things that were bugging me, like the ideas and thoughts that I would have on how to improve some things. And he always told me, like, before you go to someone, prepare them for the conversation. Let them know that you want to have that certain conversation about those topics, so that, because you prepare yourself when you go to this type of conversations, it's nice to give them the chance to also prepare. So
now that you're mentioning, I used to do this thing. I would just write people, hey, do you have 2 minutes to discuss? And they would panic, So she wants to discuss with me, and
what have I done?
Yeah, and I would go in the meeting, and they would have like a really weird face, and they're like, oh my God, Ioana, did I do something? And I was, no, I wanted to discuss, and I was super excited. And he was, oh my God, but couldn't you like tell me? And after I received the feedback, I think it was 3 or 4 times, when I'm writing, I'm trying to say, I want to discuss with you about this. So it's not as bad, or I'm setting exactly as you mentioned the tone, and I'm preparing the person, because otherwise it's like, what did I do?
Yeah, like you mentioned earlier about setting the correct expectations. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the same with conversation. But it's so interesting to me that we learn to communicate from a very young age, and we communicate with our words, with our bodies, with our mimics and whatever we do. But still, there is so much more to learn about how to properly communicate.
Yeah.
Well, Ioana, I don't have any more questions for you.
Okay.
And I want to thank you for accepting to join me today, for coming to Cluj to have this podcast, and for the time shared and ideas and all the takeaways.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. And I think I've mentioned to you before, I felt like before an exam, but it's been such a pleasure, and it really felt like a genuine conversation on a coffee. We have water now, but yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Too. Bun, nimeni nu știe că e înainte sau după.
Dar nu știe nimeni, exact.